Start streaming. Here we go. Make sure everything's working. Okay. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Let's do this thing. All right. I'm gonna send my friend the link to this stream. How does one do? Copy. Is that how it works? I don't know. How to starting off the stream strong. How to copy stream link. Not exactly what I'm talking about, but sure. Share. Okay. Let's see if that worked. Streaming right now. Boom. Close. All right. See if that pulls up. I'm gonna check it on my phone. See if that pulls up. I'm gonna check it on my phone. Cool. Alrighty. What's up, everybody? It is day 2 of the Toby Fox Music Composition Challenge. Yesterday, kind of got the lay of the land for what I wanted to do here a little bit, and started exploring with some melodies, and we're gonna keep rocking and rolling. I think after listening back to what I created, it still sounds pretty busy. So actually what I'm gonna do is just do that, and I took some time to do some homework while away from stream, and what I kind of want to start with is just like mostly super simple with maybe like 20% or like a 3-to-1 ratio of syncopation to just like downbeats. I think that's kind of what I was doing. I was getting a little still ambitious, even though I was talking about it last time, that I was trying to check myself, and still ended up making something pretty busy once notes started coming into play. So yeah, we're gonna rock and roll, and I'm gonna be flip-flopping here. You're not gonna be able to see my screen, but I have notes that I have saved, and I also have some stuff on my phone here, some audio recordings of potentially interesting melodies that, or at least rhythms for melodies that I could start with. So can dive into that a little and see what kind of sticks, because I haven't tried playing any of it in FL Studio. Let's see. A lot of my research was around his motifs, since I was struggling a lot with that, and the note pitches, intervals, and things that I wanted to work on there. So I noticed that Toby does a lot of small steps and then one leap to kind of have that be the emotion, or the thing that sometimes gets held with a longer note is also the leap. So like it's either a step, and then a leap, or it's step, leap, step, or step, 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 leap. There's like tons of different ways we could think about it, but want to try just like a few ideas here. One of them also being that I want to change the BPM I think it was also a little slow for what I want to go for. And I kind of want to start at 160, I'm thinking, for like a battle theme. That was another thing in my research that I was doing a lot of, was figuring out, what I wanted this song to be. I think I had like a rough idea in my head, but because I hadn't thought through it very much, to be totally honest, I think it led to a lot of ambiguity that I was experiencing. So I think for this, I don't want it to be like a final boss theme, but I do want it to still showcase a lot of emotion, a lot of driving energy, a lot of fun, and still have a lot of ups and downs, energy-wise, emotion-wise, motif-wise. So I feel like this would be like not the climax battle, but it would be like a pretty important battle. Like something between like fighting either like in Deltarune, how a lot of characters end up being your friends after you fight them. I feel like it might be one of those, just not one of the bosses, if that makes sense. And I think yesterday, yeah, this was B flat major. I'll stick with that for now in the relative G minor, and maybe flip flop some sections between those. I might also want to test out trying different modes. And for people that don't know modes, you're going to be learning along with me, because I know of them theoretically, but never actually composed a piece of music with modes in mind before. But basically, it will change the feeling of the song by changing certain notes, but keeping the tonic note. In this case, it would either be B flat or G as the same tonic home tone. But all the other notes going on will kind of change. So saying it out loud for myself as well to figure out what I'm going to do. So yeah, let's start digging into this, shall we? I think we can start by pulling up a voice memo I made. There were two of them. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do. Or it could be twice as fast and go do, 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 do. That could be kind of fast. Do, 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 do. That could be like an interesting B section, counter melody or something. I know I said that a lot last time too, but do, 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 do. That is 5 notes. Do, 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 do. And it ends on an upbeat. That's one idea. Second idea that I had on my notes app. Da, 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 da. Do, da, do, do. Something that could kind of develop further. Do, 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 cat, do, 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 cat, do, do, cat, do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 da. Do, do, cat, do, do, cat, do, do, cat, do, 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 do. Like in my head, I was thinking of a drum beat and turning that into a motif. It's like a do-do-cat, do-do-do-do-cat. But that's more than 3 to 5 notes, which is kind of what Toby does. Sometimes with fast ones, like 16th notes, he'll extend them. But let's see. What if we take some notes away? Is that still... Do, 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 do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 5 notes. Do, 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 do. That would be a pretty recognizable pattern. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Long, short, long. That could be something. Another idea that's even simpler than that. Yeah, I could keep messing around with this, like do, 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 do. It's faster though. Do, do, do. Yeah. Table that for now. What else we got? What else we got? I think I wrote down one other one on my phone, and then some of my notes. This one's kind of a longer idea that I was developing further. So let's start it on 5. So in this case, it would be just a bunch of 8th notes. So it's not exactly a motif in the traditional Toby Fox sense. Do, 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 do. Do. Could use my mouse. What does that sound like? Like, these are almost 2 ideas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sometimes Toby likes to juxtapose a simple motif against a more syncopated one like this. That could be something. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 3, and. So it's hitting on the 1, the 2, the and of 2 getting held out for longer, making it that bouncy syncopated feel, and then the and of 3, and then leaving the whole bar 4 for space, which I talked about in day 1, space also being just as important as the notes that you do write. So this could be something. I like what this is turning into. I just hope that I'm not too similar to something Toby's already done. Starting with A, and just hearing what that sounds like. And an easy rule to do is repeat an idea 3 times and then change the 4th one slightly. So in my head, I'm already kind of hearing a harmony that could potentially work. We'll see how it turns out, but right now I'm sticking with rhythm. But doom 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 doom. Like adding another 8th note there to roll into it. Doom 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 doom. Could add another one there. Let's see what that sounds like. Honestly, just adding the extra eighth note. Kind of already works. Boom. Oh, hey, we got Tyrus in the chat. What's going on, Tyrus? Thank you for also liking it. Be faster. Now I know how long it's been since you joined, and that, since I checked chat. Cool. Glad chat agrees that they like it faster. Shout out to Tyrus, OG, and Semi-Awkward with a retracted message. Guys are the OGs, man. Here before anything possibly blows up. We're going to be at this for a while, but we'll see what happens. Cool. Let me listen to these again one more time. Yeah. Yeah, these are just too fast where I feel like it's not as memorable. I feel like this one's just fast enough that it's got some energy. And you know, if we made this into a repeated 8-bar section, Toby would probably do something like this, where the whole B section, the last part of the second repeat is different. Oh, right. It's all on A, not B flat. Maybe this one, since all of them previously were ending on the 3, this one maybe dun 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 to really lead you into the second part here. And yeah, this isn't the most complicated thing ever, but you know, I'm already kind of digging this more than what we had before. Cool. So one of the ideas seemed to kind of work. Yeah. Could keep developing that and have like 2 ideas. Go from there, develop it into an ABAB instead of AAAA. This could go in a lot of different directions. I do kind of like the idea that it really hammers home this first concept before we go into the full section. But maybe the full section does something a little bit different where we take that idea and we already start developing a different side to it. So like, and then we take that sort of bleeding dun 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 dun, and we could either take that or do something different and do like a ABAB thing. Or it could keep that part, and that's the thread there that kind of connects the 2 parts. What other simple syncopated ideas did I have? Let's see. Da, 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 or da, 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 da. I guess they're kind of the same idea, but just stepped to the side. That's the other thing we can do here is we can literally take this same concept and instead of starting it here, we start it here. What does that sound like? So it's got like this almost metric modulation, like da da ga da 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 ga da, which gets a little trippy. What if we start it an 8th late? Yeah, I feel like it would have to change. Putting it next to something else just makes it feel like I'm trying to do some metric modulation stuff. So let's not do that. Let's do something a little more simple to juxtapose the syncopation that we're getting here. Something simple like that. And then I kind of sang the two different variations of this. What if we just did that and then move this to the end? Yeah, that's already got a lot of interest and pretty simple. And actually, if you think about it, it is still this idea of too long, too short. I just move them around. See if we copy and paste, and I'll put them a little different from each other. So you'll see all that really happened was I just did this. I just moved the 8th note and the last quarter note and shifted them. And then on top of that, bringing it over here, all I did was this, but then bring in 2 extra 8th notes. So it's still kind of one idea, which is one of the genius things that Toby does, is he takes one idea and freaking runs with it, man. Like, he is crazy. So this is a good sign. I'll take this as a win, that I'm heading in a good direction here. Oh, Thomas has made it. Welcome in, Thomas. Context for what's going on is, so this Toby Fox challenge that Dan, my music coach, is doing is a 2-week challenge where we're creating a Toby Fox inspired track. Could either be a cover or it could be just an original. I'm choosing to do an original. I think that will be more fun. And yeah, we got 2 weeks to do it. And it's going to be based on his sort of YouTube channel community poll. I guess they're going to have like a, just have everybody listen to them and then vote on which one was their favorite. And yeah, I'm just kind of starting on day 2 here, figuring out what melody to write and starting with the rhythm. So that way I have a fun rhythm down before we start talking notes. So it's slow moving. This will be the hardest part. And once things start getting in. For the inspiration, it's kind of just, there's not a whole lot of specific inspiration, I'd say. This is going to be like a 160 BPM, sort of faster paced battle track. I got some reference tracks from Toby's Deltarune and Undertale OSTs of similar songs that have a similar BPM, similar feel. I want it to have, highs and lows of emotion, whether it's, ramping up to a huge climactic moment. There's going to be a drop. There's going to be some melodies in there that open up, make it a little more emotional. And then towards the end, Toby likes to mishmash the two to make it feel like one cohesive bit at the end. And that's kind of what I'm rocking with right now. But for the inspiration side, it's kind of a mixed bag, I'd say. Kind of figuring it out as I go. Starting more so with the fundamentals of how Toby likes to write his songs, where it's repeated motifs. And he kind of just develops 1 or 2 motif ideas throughout an entire piece. And then he just creates variations on them, he inverts them, he elongates them, he shortens them, he flips them upside down, he makes other instruments play the motif when something else is happening on top. So we're kind of starting with the basics, landing a foundation right now. And once we got something cool that can be repeated a bunch of times and can kind of get transformed into different things, then we'll start fleshing out the chords. We'll figure out the melody contour, where it wants to go, what kind of story it wants to tell. And again, that was also in some research of how Toby likes to structure his melodies. So, gonna be getting into all that fun stuff. I don't know if we'll get that far today, because yesterday was already a little bit of trial and error. So, we'll just see what happens. With that being said, already got one kind of solid idea down. They're always super simple, like 3 to 5 notes that just get repeated a bunch of times, and then he just like transposes them based on the chords that are playing underneath them, or whatever funky stuff he wants to do. So in the beginning, this is going to sound like a lot of nothing burger, where it's just monotone. Just so we get the rhythm, because if we got a good rhythm, we can kind of put almost any notes on top of it and it's still going to sound pretty good. But of course, the notes that we want will also try to tell a story and also be just as compelling as the rhythm. But solid rhythm is the first thing I like to start with, because then I'm not trying to work backwards and make the rhythm work to something that I'm kind of writing vertically. Start horizontal. But yeah, prove it. Trying to prove it. We're going to see what happens. It's going to be a back and forth here. The story that I kind of wanted to tell will be a mixture of going from the relative major to the minor to have like some triumph in it, some tension in it, hope, doubts, coming back, big climactic finish, maybe with a little outro or something if I want it to loop after a massive climax or something of the battle being over. Yeah, something with emotional layered storytelling to this battle, we'll say. Yeah, got one solid idea so far. Let's see what other cool stuff we could kind of work off of here, because he either likes to do 2 melodies that are kind of call and response to each other, or one melody that, develops enough that it feels like a whole different idea. So the beginning will just kind of like hammer that unvariation idea. We'll try to do something there. And we could bring back this one. Subvert some expectations of the pattern we established here, with it being inverted this way. Do something. We'll see how it goes. But that's one 8-bar loop idea, at least for now. But we can make it slower, we can make it faster. But we like to have a good A idea and then an A prime, which would be like to vary the idea. Sing over the rhythm? Oh gosh, putting me on the spot, Thomas. We'll get there. Again, I like to map out the rhythm of the melody as a whole first before we start getting into singing what that kind of wants to be, I think. And as you can see, I already yesterday had some ideas, but they didn't really go anywhere super well. Let's listen to this B section that I wrote yesterday again and see if it's still good, or what I need to do? It's something. I think it needs some space to breathe. We already got some space between measures 3 and 4. It also does kind of sound similar to what I wrote just now. So maybe I might need to add this to the variations of section A. Actually, let me copy it over and see. It's adding more notes than the motif that I had going on before. But yeah, it's hitting a lot of the same things. Yeah, it's literally just an extra eighth note there and at the end. So it's just a busier version. So we'll revisit section B, I think. But yeah, this is the fun experiment part where we just kind of throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks rhythmically. And then from there, we take it, twist it, pull it, shove it, pop it, and see what comes next. I'm not used to really writing this way with just like simple little motifs. I'm used to kind of having longer ideas that get splayed out. I think I'll start with laying out. This is the tricky thing, is like I'm figuring this out as I go too, Thomas, is like with a motif idea, I'm thinking just focusing on this A section, and this length can totally be subject to change. Like it doesn't have to be this long or this short, but at least figure out what I can do with the motifs that I've already got in the A section working and where I want it to go. Keep the interest there. But Toby likes to do a lot of repetition, so it's going to sound, at least like after hearing it over and over and over again, it's going to sound way more repetitive than it will be once pitches actually get thrown in there. So I'm not exactly sure how we want to do this. But that's usually how we work, is we want to start mapping everything out horizontally and then start working vertically, so that way we're not just stuck in 8-measure loop land where we got like this idea and then we start messing with the melody, then we throw chords under it, then the drums, then bass, then chorus, strings, and then it sounds like a finished piece but for only 8 measures, and then we have to start all over again with a new idea. So at least for me, that doesn't work. It gets kind of demoralizing. So a lot of ways to kind of beat that is by focusing on just rhythm first and then see what happens. But again, that being said, also feeling a little stuck currently, because when looking at a lot of Toby's tracks, it is a lot of like 8 bars, a little bit of change, maybe a new idea, but still a lot of repetition. So it's going to feel samey until things start moving and pushing and pulling. And in some web browser links here, I've also got some sheet music of Toby Fox's songs, just so I have some reference of how he likes to structure his songs out. And it is, yeah, it's like 8 bars, then a new idea, 8 bars, repeats, goes back to the original idea. In this case, 12 bars for some of them. Dang. Yeah, so I'll be probably pit-patting around a little bit. But later on in the week, once we got stuff laid out, it's going to be a lot more exciting when we're actually listening to sounds and layers of instruments, and not just the same B flat note over and over and over again. And I might come up with ideas and then say, you know what, I want to put those in the A section even though they're totally different. Yeah, so let's... Based on the sheet music that I'm seeing, 8 measures for this sounds good. And then start with a new idea. And a simple way to create a new idea is by taking the original idea and just doubling its note length and see what comes out of that. And we can kind of hear it. As a drummer, I'm already thinking that that feels like a halftime groove, but could be something. And then we kind of take this as a foundation and we can like push and pull some things so it's still got some drive to it. Like this space feels pretty dead. So like adding some little eighth notes here. Doesn't sound as interesting as the original, but you know, that's also my brain seeing how slow this is. I'm already seeing some variation like that. That could be something. Kind of work with that for now. These aren't perfectly set, I don't think, because I did drag them out and it's not a perfect snap, so just quickly recreate these just to make sure what I'm copying and pasting is close enough to on the bar. Boop. And since this is twice as long, maybe this section wants to be longer. So that way it's not just only playing twice. But we'll see. Like this could already be different. Something. It's something. Yeah, this kind of changes it a little too much because the emphasis is on the upbeat again. Maybe just doesn't do another one. And obviously this sound font will be subject to change as well. This is just taking the Mother 3 sound font, just simple synth piano. So it's maybe a little digital, but we'll see. Yeah, maybe something like that. And I won't get too far into the weeds about form right now. It's more so just like an outline to keep me focused. But like, yeah, it depends how you really frame the form that Toby likes to use. Like, where's an A section versus a B section? Because some of these, like Fields of Hopes and Dreams, like gets repeated a lot for that motif. Like I'm seeing like 16 measures onwards, it's still repeating the same motifs there, with like a little bit of variation. Then some legato movements, but still very similar to stuff he was already doing. He just moved around a couple of motifs to different bars in the 4-bar measure. And then add some variation, adding some 16th notes in places, give it a little bounce. And then, until then measure 49 is when it starts actually being different with like staccato 8th notes instead of half notes with an 8th note leading into a tied quarter note and 3/16 notes. Yeah, so I guess it kind of depends how I want to call something an A section versus when it stops being the A section. I guess when I stop coming up with ideas to create variations. And this could be like an even more held out, just dun dun dun. Maybe like a little 8th note. Nope. Want it to be twice as long, so 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. could be something like that, and then returning back to the faster 8-bit, not 8-bit, faster, half as slow. But it's got to come back with variation in it. So we'll kind of see what's going on here. Where are we at in the sketching? So we're at like a minute, and then it cuts to the B section. That's not bad. 50 seconds. Yeah, something like that. Give the intro a little time to breathe, then like a main battle theme that gets repeated for a little bit. And then maybe B section changes tone. Looking through my notes to see if there's anything I could glean. 'Cause maybe the slow part wants to be the B section, honestly. Because that would open it up to have that slower emotional moment. And maybe give more time for some other type of variation to come out of the A section. So like intro, then like battle theme really begins, layers start evolving, then maybe the B section is where it goes into the relative minor, slows down, then comes back, both of them play together on top. It could be something. So yeah, let's see. Being a little loosey-goosey with how I want the song to also inform what it wants to be a little bit here, instead of me trying to be too rigid early on. Yeah, like I feel like that could go on for another 8 measures maybe, and do something different. Let's maybe cut out this part. Clone it. Put it in the B section for right now. Just have it be a temporary B section spot. That was also only 3 measures, or 3 bars. Uh-huh. Interesting. Okay. So either way, might have just not copied the last part. Yep. Whoops. Bring that over here as well. There we go. Jeez. Okay. There we go. So maybe what I'll do is I'll split this up. So like this is one variation. Rename section A, melody variation 1. I'll duplicate that, call it variation 2. Yeah, I could add like some 16th note embellishments. Get the drive going. That could be fun. And sometimes Toby likes to just literally have parts where there is no downbeat on 1, and that just makes a huge difference already. Maybe it's an 8th note off. And then again, another variation, just move this. Maybe since this downbeat isn't holding us down anymore, I want the beat 3 to hold it down, since that's B1's the strongest beat. Beat 3 is the strong beat, second strongest beat. Yeah. Is it singable? Yeah, it feels like it wants something. If we're gonna do something like that. Could be fun, could be interesting. Keep it for now. Don't get too hung up on it. Yeah. Right, Tyrus? The 16th notes, they start making things a little funkier, a little more driving, fast and fun. Sometimes that's all it takes. And there will be other things too accompanying the melody to make it drive as well, but that's an easy technique to make some simple notes like just have a little more bounce and a little bit more forward momentum. Glad you agree that the 16th notes go hard. Big fan of 16th notes. Yeah. And like at a meta level, we can almost think of this A section now being, you know, like a subphrase A, and now this is like a subphrase B, where it's doing something different rhythmically, but it's still similar enough that it would still be in the A section, or like the bigger phrase of A. So that's cool. That's another way to think about, like, we're zoomed so far in about just like, we started with these 4 notes, dun, 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 and then created variation, dun, 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 dun. Spread that out over 8 bars. Now we've got an 8-bar idea. Take that 8-bar idea, do something slightly different rhythmically. We can also change the notes as well, and it will make it, of course, also different in that regard. And now we've got like a little mini A, mini B section going on. The question is, do I want it to be A, B, A, B? Do I want it to be A, B, C, D? Do I want it to be A, B, A, C? Where this comes back again, just like in its original form. And then this 4th one is the one where it's variation again. At that point, you would have heard this melody 3 times. Technically. Most of the idea 3 times. And then you heard a variation once and a variation twice. Could work with that. Could do that. Let's clone and see what happens. Now, how do we want to make this even more different? We can literally make it start. We can literally, like, basically push this whole thing over, you know? Or bring it forward, remove this part, move this part, bring the whole thing forward one. Yeah, that already feels different to have the call and response literally swap roles, where the first phrase, subphrase of that is on the beats, and then the second part is the part that's syncopated. Curious what that sounds like now, hearing it side by side. Gotta have that funk, Tyrus. We got the funk. Gotta have that funk. Oh. And we could do something different on this one. Like, we could literally copy this again. Or we can do the thing we did before, where we now move these. I accidentally changed the color. Doop. It's still not the right color. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I like some variation in here. Yeah, I don't know. It's something. We can work with that. Cool. How we doing on time? It's been an hour? Not bad. Let's save. And let's listen to what we got. See if I'm tired of hearing this monotone note yet. Not bad, not bad. I think the intro now feels too A. Yeah, like this wants to be something different from what we've established already. And again, just moving around the same notes that we had before. Yeah. Nice. And if you're sick and tired of hearing that B flat note, welcome to my life. This is the stuff behind the scenes no one really gets to see when you're making music, man. You're listening to the same note over and over, making sure that things foundationally sound correct. Yeah. But anyway, we could take a break from that and start listening to longer held B flat notes. How fun. Already thinking of what I want changed now. Yeah. So this has already kind of made the beginning part feel different, and then we reintroduce the beginning motif here. Now that I've just made these eighth notes hold out, and switching it from the upbeat to downbeat already makes it feel different. Contrast is good. And I already did that here. And then maybe I bring back what we kind of established here to round it out, bookend it. Maybe this one gets held out for longer. Maybe that's the full part here, the smaller B section, that's kind of what I'm thinking instruments will drop. Will just be chords and this to bring in some like emotional, grandiose feeling. That will just be half as long, and then it will start over, bring this up, and then the climax will be these two ideas in some form. We'll see how it works in practice. These two kind of playing at the same time, and that's going to sound like a cacophony of sounds, so I'm just going to at least change the pitch of it. I'm just curious. That's something. Yeah. I like how they trade off a little bit there. Yeah. So that already could be something. Obviously they wouldn't be playing the same instrument, but you know, the B section could take on like a low string, like a cello, be really sad. And then the A section could be some sort of high-pitched synth or something to really like wail it home. Or vice versa, the A section could be in the back, just be quieter or something, or pan to one ear versus another. There's a lot of different ways you could figure that out. So, yeah, man. I mean, that's That's pretty darn good. For simplicity's sake, I will just put this here and shrink it. So it will feel like, for now at least, it will feel like you're just hearing the same first half twice. We'll make it maybe even more simplistic. We'll strip things back. That will be its variation. And then the loop end. This is back when I had it at 125 beats per minute, so it was more in the range of like 2 minutes 45 seconds, I think, and not 224. 224 is still good. It gives enough time to have all these ideas kind of fleshed out. Mainly the A section, of course, gets the most time to shine. But the point of the B section to me is to strip back what the A section was doing, so that way we can build. Then both of them come together, so it still kind of feels like the B section as like a base that we're just building on top of. So really the B section is this, which maybe is still shorter than that. No, it's the same. And then outro. I left myself room for an outro. I'm not sure exactly what that wants to be. Other sounds are good for the brain. Yeah, they definitely are. Yeah, we are listening to some serious B flats or A sharps, however you want to call it. Technically, this is written in B flat major, but FL Studio doesn't separate the enharmonic notes. So B flat is A sharp on the keyboard. But call it what you want. Do I have any notes that did I write anything that might help inform anything I may want to do for an outro? Could just be a stripped down version again. Maybe the outro won't be so long. Maybe it'll just be 2 bars. And if that's the case, then maybe the climax goes for another 4 bars, just to let you really feel it. And that way it's not understaying its welcome, if you get what I'm saying. Could do that. We'll just call this loop outro. And then, yeah, 2 bars, then we're at 2.5 minutes. That's pretty good. I don't want it to be too long, because this will be community voted. So if you guys want to vote on it, I will definitely be sending along links to wherever we will be told how you can vote, where you can vote. But metagaming it a little bit here, I want it to be long enough that it can tell a cohesive emotional story throughout this boss battle. Again, idea floating in my head is like it's a emotional battle. Maybe you're battling somebody that was once a friend. There's a lot of that in Deltarune, where bosses, or just like mini bosses, pre-bosses, end up being your friends after you fight them and finish their chapter. So it could be like a reverse take on that, where you've already befriended them, but now they're your enemy, at least for this fight. So there's some emotion there of feeling bittersweet that you have to fight them. So I want it to be long enough to still have the energy of a fight, have the emotional tone shift, but then come back in a climax where both of them, A section, B section, come together. And then maybe an outro, so that way it could loop if we want it to loop, or just like have it come down from the end of a tumultuous battle. That's my thinking right now as a rough framework. And maybe when I think on it more, I'll figure out more stuff. But yeah, I think I like what we're hearing for rhythm stuff so far. Save again, just to make sure. I'll sleep on the rhythm idea, or the outro idea. I don't think I need to write it at this very moment. It might come to me later after I figure out what the heck's going on here. So we could move into notes. We could listen to something other than B flat. Well, Thomas, the libs are the ones that are going to be voting. They're the ones that are going to dictate whether or not I win this competition, which would be cool. But a lot of people in the community are very knowledgeable about Toby Fox. Yep. So we'll see. You know what? Yeah, let's just play around with some notes. Why not? We can play with some notes. We got some time before my brain starts to fry. This is already going pretty well. Trying not to compare myself directly to Toby Fox a lot, just more so trying to get a good understanding of how he writes his melodies and motifs and things, and not trying to compare myself directly, because I know I'm going to listen to his music later and be like, man, my thing does not sound anything like that, and his motifs are way better. But he's been doing it for a lot longer, so let's see. One other takeaway from doing my research on Toby's motifs that he likes to create is he likes to do a motif of the intervals as well. So he likes to do things where it's not, jumping all over the place, going crazy up and down. It's got to be hummable, it's got to be singable, it's got to be stuck in your head like an earworm, which also helps with the fact that it's a lot of repeated motifs. And what he kind of changes is just the note values. But in terms of like the motivic contour, the melodic contour, he does a lot of single steps, and then a leap is anything more than just a single semitone or halftone away in a key or a scale. And he likes to stick to a lot of 1, 2, 3s, and 5s. Like if we did something like this as an example. Like, that's pretty easy to hum. Is it memorable? I don't know yet. But it kind of depends, like what the intention of the feeling is. Since we're in major, I want it to feel triumphant. Home tones are the 1, 3rd, and the 5th of the scale degrees here. 2, 4, 6, and 7 are adventure tones or tension tones. So I think in Toby's case, he likes to stick to 1, 2, 3, and 5, because most of those are home tones, with 2 kind of being a sporadic adventure tone to kind of throw in there, so it's not just all happy-go-lucky. And we can kind of try figuring out our own motif idea for how we want these intervals to go. It can go, from B flat to F, which would be a step, or a leap, and then from there we go step, step, or step, step, boop, ba-doo, boop. Don't even have to start on 1 either. We can start can do any sort of mixture of things, and we don't have to follow 1, 2, 3, and 5. We can go down to 6 and then come up to 7. Gets a little moodier, or go straight down. this is where it just gets kind of tricky. But Toby does like to hover around some repeated notes as well, so that way it's, again, not just curving up and down, up and down, up and down. It's kind of like it's sticking to one area. God, just hearing this part over and over is now making me think it's like in a swing song or something. Yeah, like B flat, D, C, back to B flat. That's already kind of catchy. Do, 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 do. 1, 3, 2, 1. Another thing too is, in terms of writing song structures and melodies, a thing that I also do a lot is question and answer, antecedent and consequent and antecedent, whichever order those two are in for the technical term. But creating something where, you know, it's not always starting and ending on the root note, you know. A lot of questions in songs will either be on the 2, like in this case C, or it could be on F, which is 5, because that's the dominant chord, the dominant note. That brings a lot of tension to what you're writing. So like, even if we just play this, it like wants to bring back to the tonic because it's got the most amount of tension in it. And I'm just making sure I was actually using the tonic there. Can also use 4. It's a little less strong, but it's got its use cases. You could use 3 as well. 2 also has a lot of tension since it's so close to 1. Just wants to come back down. And you can subvert that by going up to a different tone where it's got some light resolution, like 2 to 3. I also like how this sounds. It's kind of fun, go lucky, happy. For a battle song, I don't know if this exactly fits, but in terms of like a memorable, catching, you know, catchy sort of sound, you know, starting on 1, ending on 1, very catchy. And you can like go in a different direction. You know, there's something there. So it's kind of just taste and figuring out like where you want the idea to kind of take you. For like a hero theme, I feel like it's going to want to be triumphant. It's going to want to be not super nursery rhymey, but it will want to still have a lot of root notes or tonic notes and things like that, I think. Depends how battle-y I want the intro kind of to be, I guess. Kind of sounds nice. But also sounds very final, you know? That's also like a little mini call and response right there. 3 being the question, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, finding the right notes is always a tricky thing because you can literally go wherever. There's no rules. I think with the battle theme too, you know, you don't want it to feel resolved. Like there's still conflict going on. It's high energy, high octane. I'm also looking at other songs like Pedal Dance from Chapter 5. It's slower tempo, but it's eighth notes, and it's still very, very bouncy, but it's also got the bass kind of helping the energy drive it. If I was hearing it without it, maybe it would sound a little bit more like mine, where I'm still trying to find out what I want it to be. But Pedal Dance, I believe, is... Oh, what... E flat major. That's the one with 3 flats. And looking at the sheet music is helpful because then I can dissect exactly what notes Toby is using in the melody versus the key signature. 2 2 3 2 1 2 2 3 2 1. Again, I'm not stealing. I am merely looking at what has been done, and it's a completely different rhythm as well, and melody is comprised of not only the notes but also the rhythm. So we can use this as sort of like a reference guide to make sure I'm in the right ballpark of, you know, using the reference tracks to understand the feeling of why I like them and trying to figure out what makes them work that certain sort of way and see how I can incorporate them, create variations on them, and alter them when they don't suit exactly what I'm going for. So like, for instance, 2 2 3 2 1 3 1 3 5 2 1 3 5 2. Like not ending on the root, but having the root in there is also helpful to not make it feel like so nursery rhymey where it's starting on the root, ending on the root, but you're still hitting those tones. Like if I do. Also, Toby layers a bunch of chords on top of melodies anyway, so melodies aren't even a single note, which also makes them feel fuller and more adventurous. Yeah. What else? What else could we work with here? Using a lot more fives. Yeah, and sometimes returning to one is the play. Toby does do a lot of that sometimes too, where it's literally just a nice sounding 4-note motif that ends pretty charmingly, and then just kind of develops it from there. I feel like this has been done before. I feel like that's a song from Deltarune, I think. I would not be surprised. Like good repetition is also just good repetition. And creating some serious tension here by throwing in a 7. Yeah, like having the motif do something different, but also doing something different in the contour as well, kind of helps set it apart. 'Cause if I do gets a little samey. Gets just a little bit samey. And I could do what I established in the first one. Yeah, I like that more. Or I can yeah, let me just start playing around with just things feel like they want to be held out longer, be more staccato. we can mess around with some of those notes, and that creates subtle variation in and of itself. So, could be something there. It's also sounding more repetitive too, because this is the intro where we're trying to establish what the rest of the song is building off of. So it's inherently a little bit more repetitive, but in the A section here, where we've got this sort of like secondary rhythm going on, that'll help break it up even more too. Yeah, it's a good start at least for now. Or maybe like this wants to be. Yeah, that's got some tension to it. That was more interesting. I want to sprinkle in some adventure tones here and there. Keep it interesting. But Toby does like to kind of anchor to something, like a lot of C's, a lot of A's, a lot of C's. And then this could be like a lot of D, or not gonna make that joke. Maybe even throw a 6 in there. Going to a 4 there was kind of nice, because that added a little bit of diatonic tension, like only going up a half step, feeling like something's happening. But we'll see. I don't want to get too carried away, because Toby does repeat a lot of notes within phrases as well. Like this is already pretty varied. Also have the metronome going just to keep the pulse. Thanks, guys. We're just messing around right now. Totally in the exploration stage. We'll see where this goes after I sleep on it. But, we're getting somewhere. I like to at least just throw stuff at the wall and then come back to it the next day and be like, what the heck was I doing? And then find something just clicks. Also, sometimes just need to re-listen to some reference tracks that I had noted. Like Big Shot, Attack of the Killer Queen, Asgore's Theme, Battle Against a True Hero, Chaos King. Like these are all big emotional battle tracks that maybe I need to study a bit more of their sheet music too and see. Because I think a lot of those are around the like 160 BPM, so I should also look at what note divisions Toby's using there. Maybe I've got too slow of a melody. Using quarter, eighth, quarter, eighth. Maybe he's got more 16ths. But we also got some 16ths in there. So we'll see. But I think we've got some stuff working at least. 2 is a very tense. Yeah. It's something. It's something. I'll obviously want the melody of the notes in the intro to reflect the A section as well. I'm just messing around to see what sounds nice to me. Yeah, those 16th notes will be fire once we get those going. Cool. Oh yeah, and Flower Man was also 160 BPM. I got some homework. That's got a lot of 16 notes. Ooh, key with 4 sharps. I always forget the key signatures once they get like over 2 or 3. What was that? E major? Yeah. That one's a fun tune. That one's got a lot of staccato 16th notes in it. Dun, 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 dun. That's in E, and it starts on 1. On that, at least. Also trying to dissect just the stuff that applies to my notes, which are also quarters and eighths. And in this one section, dun 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 dun. Like that's just the motif he uses in that. Super simple, but the note pitches are also super important. And he's also got the bass doing the staccato 16th notes to keep it fast. Which I will probably be doing as well. More 16th notes. Dun, 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 dun. So that's setting root. That's 1, 1, 5, 1, 2, 3. Root 5, 1, 2, 3. That's all it is. He's going low. He's going root 5, 1, 2, and then there would be a third. And he does that twice, but he changes the notes in the second repeat, the last 2 quarter notes in that second repeat. Toby, Toby, Toby. 1, 5, 1, 7, then a leap. Well, not exactly a leap, but 7, 5 with a 1 underneath it. Again, because he does a lot of doublings with his melodies, making it that much fuller. We could probably do that too, but right now I'm sticking to single line melody, and then we can flesh it out with harmonies later. So he does 1, 7, 1, or no, 1, 5, 1, 7, 5. 1, 5, 1, 7, 5. 1, 5, 1. And a 5 up there. Oh, adding that extra note there actually kind of helps it breathe a little bit. I like that. How does it sound when we go up an octave? Nah, I like it lower. Yeah, that has a little bit more push and pull to it that I like. And then what Toby likes to do is, if I literally took the same thing, but then moved it up, it's like move it up to this, and then this comes down, and does that stay where it is? Or does this probably becomes 1? That sounds interesting. We'll see. This could be a big leap. I mean, it is an octave. Nah. 5 sounded better. But what about the second note? Yeah, just messing around at this point. that's something. That's kind of cool. Let's stick with that for now. Call it a day. And pick it up tomorrow. Maybe do some more reference studies. See, like, I didn't even take all the same exact notes. I was just taking the contour idea just from one piece of one of Toby's tracks, just to better understand like how he likes to shape the melody in a similar boss theme in a battle. And like it's still hitting like a lot of home tones, obviously, but then I kind of go off and do my own thing here, then repeat that section with a little variation, bring it up a third to give it some rising tension as it comes up to the seventh, high, really, really leading tone, high tension there, after coming off the dominant fifth, tension to super tension to come back to one. Let's actually hear that loop, since I didn't have the other A section land on one. Yeah. And we could subvert some expectations and start on the 3 when we come into the A section. Who knows? We can be crazy. But yeah. Cool stuff. Figured out the rhythm for all of the new A section. Created a new B section based on the A section by just elongating the same motif idea and then changing some notes around, adding some 16th note embellishments here and there to make it fun, make it feel different. And then having the A and B sections come together actually sounds kind of nice right now. We'll see about the notes. That might be a variation, is changing the notes once these two clash. The rhythms will stay the same, but we'll create some nice harmonies or something. But this is sick. Excited with how this turned out. Got a lot further than I thought I would. And feeling good. After day one, I was feeling a little dejected, honestly, from thinking I had a good idea, and then it just ended up not being a great idea. It was too busy, too syncopated, wasn't catchy. And then when I started playing around with the notes, it just made it that much more apparent that like I couldn't even figure out what this was starting to sound like. So I think we're heading in a much better direction on day 2. I'll keep doing some homework behind the scenes, try and figure out if there's any other cool battle theme melody contours that might inspire me to move in a certain direction with the feeling that the melody wants to go. And then after that, hopefully lay down some chords, some rhythmic chords. Toby likes some fat 7th, 9th, 11th sus add chords sometimes, and he puts it in funky rhythms or arpeggiates them, so we can get crazy with those. But I think for now, once we get to the chord stage, it'll just be block chords. It won't be arpeggiated or anything, but it might have some like simple rhythm in there. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Tyrus, I'm glad that you like the extra note in there too. Yeah, I think it kind of anchored it a little bit and made it nice. We'll see where we go from there. And thank you guys for watching. I know, Tyrus, it's late for you. Get some sleep, everybody. And I'll keep in touch about tomorrow. Probably around the same time I'll hop on. Well, tomorrow will be later, but I'll try to do a little shorter live stream tomorrow maybe, but we'll see. Alrighty, catch you guys later. Day 2 complete. See you later.